Well, here we are. Hello, Danielle. It's great to have you on this Beadshop Live.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Oh my goodness. Well, welcome to you and to everyone watching. Today, if you're watching live, it is Wednesday, December 11th. And as you can see, we have a very special guest today with us with a really fantastic project. Danielle's here with this Mosaic cuff, and she's going to talk about it in just a second. But Danielle, before I jump over to you, let me do this so I tell everybody where to find us, where to contact us. So I'm going to cover you for just a second and say, my friends, don't forget you can find us everywhere on social. On Facebook, at the Bead Table, our fantastic Facebook group, our Instagram at beadshop.com, our Pinterest pages. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification button over on YouTube. It's the place to go so you don't miss any fantastic comments and content that we put up over there on YouTube. We're inching closer and closer to that 100,000. So we're just about, 12,000 subscriptions away from it. So hit that like and subscribe. It really, really helps get the word out there about all of this bead content that we share with you. And of course, if you want to talk to us, send us that email over at info@beadshop.com and we'll get back to you right away, especially if it's during weekday work hours. We like to take the weekends off to recharge a bit. So if you do email us on the weekend, there might be a little bit of a delay getting back to you. But other than that, we're always there on the other side of the line. All right, Danielle, you're here. Everybody is here. And Janice is saying, and hello to our JP, Danielle actually has 2 projects. And Danielle, what I did was I linked that earring project that you made for us. Right now, it is on our YouTube. Right down below, there's a link to it. You can also jump over to the WINDOWPANE cuff over on Beadshop, and Drea has linked it all there. But I'm really excited about this project. So we're going to talk about earrings maybe a little later in the broadcast. But let's talk about this cuff and what's this all about? We're using a different bead today.
Yeah. It's a size 10 Delicas, so just a little bit bigger than an 11-0. It's about equivalent in size to like an 11-0 Toho round. So to give you some scale there, and it just makes a design work up faster, which gift season right now we all could appreciate.
Yeah, exactly. And you made us, because we don't usually carry Delicas in size 10. So what we did was we had you make up an exclusive mix. I've got it right here in my hand. You've got it right there on the screen. And these are size 10s. So when you get this, folks, you'll be working with the Delicas size 10s. But so let me ask you, if people decided that they wanted to use Delicas in 11s, will this still work?
Yes, the stitch will work great. The finding might be a little wide, just because it's a really good width for 3 of these beads in a row.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think there's other ways you could do a closure for this. That would also be great.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see I'm wearing this. It really looks, it's so like festive and winter white. I just love it, love it, love it. Janice is linking the handouts in the chat there over on YouTube, but you'll be able to find both of these. They're really, it's such a fun piece, and I love how you're using this finding. We're going to talk about that, but let me hold it up right here, and you can see it in the project map on the website. But you can see Danielle used this little SOROS ending, this little symbol ending, and we used that magnetic ball clasp, which I just love. But there's, as you say, there's lots of ways you could adapt this to different sizes of seed beads, etc. And now that I'm holding it up, Danielle, to the light, I can really see, it's almost like a stained glass window. I can see the light through the transparent. It really is such a gorgeous, gorgeous piece.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's, I guess, stop chatting about it and actually get to it, shall we?
Sure, anytime. I like the chatting too. So.
That's right. I do too. I do too. Well, everyone is saying hello and saying that they're so glad. And Deb says she just printed the earring pattern, and you are wearing the earrings right there as we speak. So they really look terrific. Yeah, they look great. I'm looking forward to making those as well. All right. So let me highlight. Oh, lovely. So good. We can put them down on your overhead camera too. Let me and biggin, I guess, that one. And show us how it's done, my friend.
Yeah. So the bracelet is multi-drop peyote, and it's a also an even count design that still has a center point. And that's always my goal, is to not have to do odd count turns in peyote stitch.
Yeah, I can relate. Right now I'm doing an odd count piece, and the turns are sort of becoming automatic, but I am really interested to see how you do this with the center and even. I love it.
Yeah, and it's so easy, and it actually works up really quick. So it's starts just the regular way you would start a multi-drop peyote, and it's just the counts that we play with. So I thought what I would do is just walk you through starting it, and then we can bring this one back and put findings on it. And so you'll want to start with the base color, which is the mattes. We called it Snow White, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The name there. Oh, it's matte Winter White.
Winter White. There it is.
And so you'll want to string 17 of those.
And that's your base row.
Yeah. Now, having said that, you could work this from the midpoint if you wanted to not have to add thread an extra time. I usually just, I'll add the thread, not really worry about it. But you can work this back and forth from, for example, you could just start working it in this direction and work it in that direction.
Right. So you've started in the center and work your way out. That's really smart. And I also wanted to mention, Ruth is asking about the findings. You can find all of these things, Ruth, right over on beadshop.com. We have a fantastic variety of these little round findings in some great colors. We've got them in a pearl, in a pewter color, gold, lots of really terrific colors. And they go perfectly with that finding.
Really pretty. This is the antique silver.
Yeah. And they're all listed on Danielle's project page right over on beadshop.com. And right now, if you're watching this live, it's on the homepage, so you can just click over it from there.
Oh, awesome.
So, okay, you've got your 17, right?
Yep, 17 beads on there. And if I miscounted, it's okay, because it's easy to fix. And this row is so forgiving. And the cool thing is, the first 2 rows are all worked with the winter white, so you don't have to worry about the colors yet. So we're just going to pick up 2 of the beads, the winter white, and skip the first 2 in your row that we just strung. And now what you want to do is go through the next 3. So we'll go through 3 beads there. So we're creating the window pane. Mm-hmm. And to make your peyote tight, I always just go and pull those apart. So pull the working and tail side apart. It might help these sit side by side, which could be done now or later, but it helps with tension to at least get that first one to pop. Mm-hmm. So just like that. So we should have 2 going through 3 and skipping those first 2. And I'm going to pick up 2 more. And I'm going to skip 2. And then I'm going to go through the next 3. And I might just do that same thing again, just to tighten it all up. Oh, thanks, Terry.
It is true. You have just the best tutorials, Danielle, the best. We're so, so lucky to have you do this for us.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. So I picked up 2 more. And again, I'm going to skip 2 and go through 3.
So I see you're matching well, I'll let you continue, but this is really super clever the way that you did this.
It just makes it so easy. And then you get this really intricate looking design at the end. And it was so simple to make. And so what we're doing now is just the window pane. This kind of layering.
So smart. So you don't, when you're doing this multi-drop peyote, your drops it doesn't have to be 2 drop all the way across or 3 drop all the way across. It just needs to match the size.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how you can trick your way into having a midpoint still, even though it's even count.
My head literally just exploded.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I was excited too. And I was, you have sometimes you try something and you're like, you think it's going to work in your head, but you're not totally sure. And the very first time it works out, you're like cheering and jumping around. I had one of those moments. And so just to finish it, we just need 1. So this is the only part that we stray from the same thing we've been doing. So we've got the 1 bead. And so skip 1, just this next one here, and go through the last one. Even count. And the other awesome thing is no worrying about the spin. The first 3 rows of peyote that
right.
That drives me crazy. So if I have control over the design, I never put a different color in the first 3 rows.
Right. Yeah, same. Because that flippy around part, I'm like, yeah, that's
because that can just drive you crazy.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
And so we're done with the first 3 rows. It's that easy.
Wow.
And so the next one, we'll just pick up 1 bead. And we will go through the up bead, which is that 1 up bead right here. And sometimes what I do is I just give it 1 extra pull here to tighten. And I'll just pinch everything in my hand. Just bring that through so everything stays tight. And after this, it should lock in really nice. And now 3. And I just random selected colors from the mix for this next part. Whoop.
And the mix is really cool. It has a variety of beads in it. And especially like the golden tones are kind of tone on tone. So it really makes those blue beads pop really nicely. It's a cool mix.
Oh, thanks. I love it. It's such a periwinkle, wintry, it's like a little snow.
Yeah, I just love it. And so Janice just commented, this is because you are using a different color of thread so we can see it. But Janice is commenting and saying this is definitely an example of how the thread color, it doesn't really show. I mean, there's the white that you've used there, but in the dark, I mean, you see it maybe just a touch, but it's, it's not jarring at all.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I think if I held it up to the light, I might be able to see the thread going through. All of the beads in the mix are transparent with the exception of the silver lined topaz.
Right.
So you might be able to kind of glimpse it, see a little bit, but I feel like that's still okay. And even like a blue thread would be pretty. You can see the blue on the side.
On the side,
but I did
definitely.
use crystal fire line for this one.
Yeah. Love. Yeah, the fire line. Now, Sandy is saying she loves the brown portions of this. And it is brown. That mocha mousse is the Pantone color of the year for 2025. What do you think of the color?
I love it.
Danielle?
I've been waiting my whole life for them to choose a warm brown as the Pantone color of the year.
Yeah, I love it too. I know that some people don't love it. But I saw it and I immediately was like, I am down. I am so here for it. I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
We have a couple of projects already planned with it. So featuring it, the color. So we're pretty excited.
Oh, I cannot wait to see.
Yeah. Same, because that means they'll be done.
Yes, I feel that too.
Right? Like, yes,
Yeah.
I can't wait.
And so there's 3 more colors, and I'm just going through. And so in this case, we'll just go through the next 2 up beads. And the same thing at the bottom. So that's all you have to do for that row.
Nice.
And so everything from here on out is just super easy, smooth sailing. Every one of the rows that's passing back up this way is going to have all of the base color, the winter white.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just worked in 2s, just right up to the end where you add 1.
Mm-hmm.
So there's our 2. And 2 more. Oops. And the cool thing is if you miss one, it'll automatically just jump right out at you.
Yeah, you'll see it.
There we go.
Very nice. And so this is, like we say, the mix that you made. This is the size 10s that we got, especially for this project. So the Delicas that we carry on Beadshop are 11s, but you could certainly adapt this this technique or whatever to any bead, any, Miyuki bead that we carry. You would just have to figure out the closure might be a little bit different. But, you can experiment. I love the winter white with like the mosaic windows in it. And especially now, Janice was saying with the reopening of the Notre Dame Cathedral in France, it's very like, stained glass window feeling.
Oh, yeah. That is so neat. I didn't even make that connection now until you just said so.
Yeah, it really has that kind of stained glass window look. Love, love. And it does come together pretty quickly. I'm working on a project with Delicas in the 11s. And like I said, for the Great Bead Extravaganza that's coming up in January, we're looking forward to that. But seeing them next to the Delicas in 10s, I'm like, oh, those are small.
I have to admit, it's kind of hard to go back to working with an 11-0.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little bit, but then 11-0 is a much more intricate look. It's like having more pixels, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So there's definitely a win to 11-0 as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there are, for sure. It's always, it's good to have a lot of different tools to work with. But this really looks fantastic. I love it. Now, there's something else I was going to ask you as you were going through this. I don't know. It'll come back to me. I had that question for you earlier and it left my brain. Now this one left my brain, but it'll it'll come back.
That's okay. My thread keeps hugging the side of my desk and then launching my project off of camera.
Right. Oh, well, that jogged my memory actually. In this Delica project that I'm doing for TGBE, I used your Fireline magic knot technique.
Yay. Oh, awesome.
And it, Danielle, changed. I was so happy.
I was so happy too.
It was so great. So Danielle showed that her magic knot with Fireline in the last tutorial she did for us. It was what was that one? Yes. The Super Duo cuff. It was so cool. So I don't know, maybe if there's time later, maybe you'll show us again if I put you on the spot.
Oh yeah, we'll have time.
Yeah, I'll tell you folks, I was going along on my project and I'm like, oh, I've got to add thread. And I said, I'm using Fireline. I'm going to do that magic knot technique that I learned from Danielle.
Yay.
So good.
It's really
So
helpful.
the little window panes you do in blocks of 3, right? So that's the last one.
Yep, exactly. So from here, here I need to do something a little different. So far I've just been doing the same thing. And now I've got these 3. And so what we normally do is, we'll pick up the first bead of that next row and just bring it through that up bead. And so from here, what you would usually do is grab the mix, right? But I want to that window, so I'm just going to grab 3 of the winter white and string that down. And then 3 more winter white. And 3 more. And that will finish that row.
Nice.
And that's almost one center finished. And then to build the next one, just picking up 2 more, head up to the top of this row. So it's got like 2, 2, 2, and then 1, and then 3, 3, 3. Pretty much until the entire bracelet is ready. So this is a great one you can put down and do other stuff and come back to. It's one of those really fast ones. So there's one full repeat of one of the windows.
Very nice. And that little technique that you've got there, I mean, that little window motif, you could just make it like a small section connected around. That would make a great slider bead, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That could be the top of, I don't know, you could fringe from the bottom there. It's a really cool, it looks almost like a little, I don't know. Yeah, see, like, wouldn't that be cool as a little slider?
Yeah, that would. And you would just to link it, just don't finish that row with the 2s.
Right.
Just connect them.
And it would just slide in there. Really cool.
Yeah.
It's such a simple motif, but one that I think is really effective.
And it's also easy to adapt the width of it. Like you could, if you weren't worried about having the finding in the center, or if you wanted to maybe use 2 findings, you can always just do 2 repeats of window and end it here with just the 1.
Right.
And it would be a little smaller format, but then you'd have these 2 here. It would still work though.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
And then there's a question from Janice saying, Danielle, I'm guessing we have so many beads in the tube that you could use brown for your base or just use the blue with the white. Yeah, there's plenty of beads in here.
When I was playing with the earring, kind of what I did on that was I knew it was going to use a lot of brown, and there are 3 different versions of brown and 2 blues in the mix. And so I kind of interchangeably used the transparent topaz and the silver line topaz as this edge. And then there's a color lined, it looks topazy, but it's a color lined gold cinnamon. And it's so cool. So I use that as the center. And for the blues, I just didn't worry about which was the lighter or the darker blue.
Right.
But if you look really,
it's a little like visual texture that way too.
Yeah, I figured it solved two things. It made sure that absolutely would have enough beads from the mix to do at least a couple pairs, and then also finish my bracelet.
Very nice. And I like that you use pearls as the dangle. You don't even have to throw a dangle in. You could just make that shape. I think that would look great. You can dangle just about anything, from, what do I want to say, for the dangles at the bottom.
Anything. Oh, yeah. I mean, even like I originally had a little gem duo on there.
Oh, yeah, that would be cute too.
But then when I had these pearls sitting in a cup next to my desk, and I'm like, hang on, with that winter white.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Pretty fun, but like a crystal Oh my gosh, a crystal would be gorgeous.
It would
And
be
this
really pretty. Yeah.
with any beads, 11/0 would be great. And I love like with a wire garden, you could just pinch it to be whatever width you need it to be or expand it.
Yeah, that's really a clever way of finishing it. And it gives it, I mean, it's really sturdy with that wire guard on there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So like one of my favorite pairs. I'm going to be making lots of these.
Yeah, it looks great.
Super fun.
And folks, you can find that we've linked that pattern below on YouTube, but you can also just pop right over to beadshop.com and get and grab that the earring what I want to say, the earring pattern, I guess, as well as Danielle's handout for the cuff.
Yeah. I'm so excited that you guys have project pages. I love the way you do the roadmap.
Yeah, thanks. Well, we can pull it up a little bit later too so everybody can see it, but I really like having that really nice overview of the project so people can really look at it, because I think sometimes pictures are easier to deal with than the written word. And everybody can see it, get a nice close-up view of it for sure.
Yeah. Well, you had mentioned the fireline trick, and something really funny just happened, and I'm not sure how.
Oh.
My thread came apart.
Oh,
I wonder if
that's
it had a sharp edge or something, or
maybe, or who knows, maybe it got nicked, but that is that's unusual for sure.
For fireline especially, and I'm using 8 pounds, so it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
But you have a trick.
I have a trick, and it's going to be tricky to do with this, but I'm going to do it because it's so short, you know?
Yes.
Hey, why not? I like a challenge. So I'm going to just tie a regular good old shoelace knot. So just like I'm tying my shoes. So there's the first half of that. It's just going to fumbly because it's a very short little string.
Right, short little piece, exactly.
And so here's the second half of that knot. And it's going to slide around on me a lot. See how it's moving? But that's okay. Let me grab my burner. So I'm just going to burn a little mushroom on the ends of each of these tails. So starting with that one, just going to burn one little side right there. And that side.
So yeah, see that little mushroom that's right there? That,
yeah,
it's, yes.
On both sides. And if you're working with some beadwork and you don't want to really ruin the tension on it, you can always just kind of pinch it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you pull it, it should just give you a, I'm using one of the larger fire lines, but on the smaller ones, the footprint of that knot is not as noticeable.
Right.
And that'll work for anything except for brick stitch. With brick stitch, it's hard to get that to go under a thread bridge.
Right.
But with these beads, I have no trouble. They just go right through. The knot does not get in the way at all.
Isn't that clever, you guys? Isn't that, I mean, that, I did that when I, as I say, when I was doing this peyote stitch with my other Delicas. And yeah, I think I'm using 6 pound. So the knot didn't even show. I think it just settled in between a couple of beads or whatever. So I didn't even have to worry about that little mushroom spot.
It should just disappear for you. And even if it is a little tricky to pull through smaller beads, like I've braved even doing this with 15s before if I really like I don't want to add thread. But you just kind of stabilize the bead you're about to pull the knot through.
Right.
And there it's
it'll go. Yeah, look at that, just hidden.
And even with that dark color thread, it's totally disappeared. And I feel like it's strong too.
Yeah.
It's as strong as weaving in. Yeah.
I would think, and sometimes weaving in that little tail just, you know, it escapes.
Or like on peyote, you make a turn, and even though you made a bunch of turns here, still I get one where it just kind of pops up a little bit on the side.
And you're like, ugh. Yeah.
It drives me crazy.
Yeah, same. So I think that's super clever. Yeah, there you go. All right. Awesome. That looks great.
So it's pretty much, you know, you just carry on just like that. And you just keep going until you have a length that you like. And it's super, super easy.
Yeah. And so you used in the when do you start measuring for that, Danielle, lengthwise?
You know, at any point, this one is probably not the length. I didn't quite get it as long as I wanted it to be yet.
Mm-hmm.
But at any point, you can just start looking at it. And so I need another at least 2.5 inches on there, maybe 2, because the clasp is going to add about 3/4.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would start going with a measurement now, just knowing that you can even mock it up a little bit, like by putting the finding on it. You can just set the findings.
Right. I was going to ask, yeah, if you could show those findings and the clasp that we chose. But that's a good idea. You kind of add it in there. And see, it's that little SOROS finding that we carry. It's really great. And you were saying it's the same length as TILA, as the TILA bead?
Yeah, if you're working with the TILAs, it's going to be the exact size for that, the exact width.
That's great.
And I think it actually like comes up as a TILA finding when I was originally discovering it. I think it was called something like that, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it is in the Cymbals TILA group. But it works really well with, obviously, with these Delicas. And so you can see how Danielle's using some of the jump rings. That's the 5 millimeter. And that just connects those two right there.
Jumping. The magnetics are always so fun.
Yeah, the magnetic is always sometimes a little bit of a challenge there. But
that's so worth it when you're putting it on.
Yeah.
And on the sample, we used iridescent blue.
Yes.
But this one I had handy is the purple, and I thought that's kind of cool. They're all gorgeous.
Yeah, they all work. We've got them in pearl. We've got them in a dark blue. The blue is my favorite. We have it in a pewter and a gold. We also have them a little bit larger in a patina color. They have a flower motif on them. So you could really use anything. We also have those little metal ones that we call cuties. They're a little smaller than that, but that would work as well. Really nice.
Oh, yeah. I think I might have I have one of them.
Yes, that's it.
Love that one. This is like my favorite thing.
Yeah, that bracelet, you really started a trend with that. And folks, you can also find Danielle's Super Duo, that bracelet, over on Beadshop as well. It works up so quickly. And I remember in the broadcast that we were doing, we were talking about how we could use it as an earring, kind of single out that motif. It was really fun.
Yeah. And like you were saying, it's a fast one. It works up really quick. So
yeah, it does. Very fast. Super fun.
Oh, wow. So I'm actually not far off. If I want this to be 6.5, I only need to add another 1.5 inches or so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So this one is almost complete. And it goes quick. You can create each one of these blocks so quickly that it will get done. In just the time that we had here, we've completed almost 1/2 inch.
Yeah. So it's great for a fast present.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. So if you think it's ready, I can pop the clasp on inside.
Yeah, and let's pop that clasp on, and then can we talk about the earring?
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect.
And so everything I'm about to show has a diagram to support it, because it's not tricky to remember, but there's one little turn. It's a super easy turn.
Right. Awesome.
And it's the same on both sides, like the same exact. So you're going to end up, or you're going to want to end up, it'll happen naturally on your starting side that you'll have your tail exiting from the single bead.
Mm-hmm.
And on this side, you'll just want to make sure you finish a row that ends with the same kind of structure. So in that case, you'll have the 2 beads as your up beads, not your 3 beads.
Mm-hmm.
That gives you the place to put the finding in between in the center. And so your tail thread, it'll be there naturally already. And then your end of your working thread will be in the same spot after you finish that row. And to get where I want to go, I just need to make a little turn. So we're in this bead right now. And we're just going to go back and just travel a little bit. And my goal is to get through these beads heading in that direction. So we'll just head through. I'll go through each one.
Okay.
There's that one. And one thing I would say is make sure you get through all 3. Sometimes I skip one by accident, and then you'll see your thread kind of showing a little bit. It's always over just one bead. I don't know why, but it's always one. But so our goal is to get from up here to down there.
Right. And now it's time to add your finding.
Yep. And actually, I already have my clasp on that side. Let's go with
nice.
That. I'm going to be brave and put the clasp one on.
Yeah, do it. And I love this peyote stitch. It is so relaxing too, and especially this works up so quickly because you're doing that multi-drop.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just so fun.
It is. And
I think other patterns are possible too. This is a great way to learn the pattern because it's delineating which ones are your 2s and which ones. But you could just take a look at this as a canvas and make any pattern you want once you've got the structure kind of programmed and dialed in. So there it is. And now all that we really have left to do is weave around and reinforce. So I'm just going to carry on through the rest of this edge here. And sometimes I can get through all of them. Looks like that worked out. And to reinforce, I'm just going to head back through. So I made a turn into those 2 beads here, heading through these 3, and you can see I'm just headed right back in this direction. Mm-hmm. And get through those 2 there. And the cool thing about peyote stitch is we can, while we're here, exiting from the finding, if you want to, this is optional, but if you feel like it needs a little more strength, you can go through these 3 and back up through these. That's a completely optional thing. And I don't feel like it shows. If you look really close, you can maybe tell that there's a turn there, but
yeah, but it's hard to see. And I agree. I like doing a little extra, what I call a little extra padding in there, just because, especially if it's a bracelet, because that what do I want to say? That clasp kind of requires you to pull apart, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Because it does require, even though when I take it on and off, I try to get my fingernail in there.
Right.
But yeah, the goal would be to make it strong enough that if you're like one of your clients was to pull it, it would still be okay. And so now I'm just making turns. And I might even go do this again. At this point is freestyle. It's just up to you if you feel like it needs it.
And there's a question here about toe hose. We don't really carry toe hose here at Beadshop, but you were saying that these size 10 Delicas that we have in our special mix are equivalent to a toe hose size as well?
Yeah, they end up being about 1.8 millimeters, measuring them this direction in their width, I guess it would be called. So they end up being about equivalent in size, although they're much more precise than the Delicas.
Yeah. But I urge you, a small little sampler of this. You can try this technique out with several different sizes of beads, some different, patterns or whatever. And if you just make short little samplers, you can kind of play around and find how you want to personalize it. I'm a big fan of samplers.
Yeah, it's like making a swatch.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a big fan. Like people always say, like when you're knitting or whatever, oh, I never swatch. You know what? Honestly, I always swatch because it saves so many headaches down the road. Same thing with my metal smithing. If I'm trying a technique, I just make it on just a little piece. Like I'll cut 2 pieces of metal, check the kind of give myself a roadmap for what I'm going to do. And then if I screw up on those 2 little pieces, it doesn't matter. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't
Oh,
have a
really,
sweater
really,
finished.
really kind words here from Lorena.
Aw.
Thank you. While Danielle's finishing this up, she says, I love the way you organize the projects on our website, intro of the creator, story with the piece, all of the kit contents in one place. Thank you so, so much, Lorena, for those kind words. Maybe I'm just feeling emotional from the holidays, but it definitely brought a tear to my eye. So thank you so much. And Margaret is saying, Danielle, this pattern was so easy to follow, even for someone like myself who doesn't do a lot of seed beading.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you, Lorena, and thank you, Margaret.
And Janice is back. Her computer needed to be plugged in, so she was lost in the dark for a second, but now she's back.
Oh, no. Yay.
Hooray. Oh, that looks I just love that closure. Now, let me ask you this. I've been thinking about when I did that snowflake design, I did it on a Saturday stitch in that I did, and I was contemplating the use of like some smaller beads or some 15s. If you wanted to fill in that little drop down, would 15s work in there, you think, Danielle?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
like
you can mix a Rocal and a Delica.
Yeah, and I think even 4 15s would work.
Yeah.
I have some. Wanna just try it?
Why not?
These are
Oh,
some
and
cookie
Lacey
fixings.
is saying here, making swatches with different sizes might enable you to use bugle beads on the end to smooth out the ends. Sure, you could try bugles.
Yeah, I wonder. I think that might work.
Yeah, why not?
And bugles come in so many great sizes. I wonder if there's one that's a perfect height.
Yeah, maybe the bugle, size 1 might work, or and this is a great compliment. And Kelly, I agree so completely. Kelly says, this is an amazing project, Danielle, and I love how you teach. I cannot get peyote, but you are slowly teaching me as you're the only person I can learn from. Well, that is high compliment. And Janice, you might have been gone when we answered that question, but you could switch around the winter white for browns or blues, because there are so many beads in the project.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot. It's a really generous tube.
Yeah, it is. So those are 15s that you have there, Danielle, right?
Yeah,
and look at how they line up.
They're perfect in height. My only thinking is I wonder, I feel like it's still going to work, but because they're a little bit less, I'm going to string it to show it actually.
Yeah, the hole diameter is a little smaller.
Yeah, and so we're going to get a difference in length going this way.
Right, right.
I feel like it will still work though, but you may decide instead of 3 that 4 looks better.
Yeah, but I'm just saying for like the very, very end, if you're closing up the end, so you don't have the jog. And if that was the end, you can see it fills in that end perfectly.
It does. Oh, yeah.
If you didn't want the tiny little jog, but I kind of like the jog at the end because it feels like a picot to me. You could always add a picot on the edge of this as well if you wanted to gild the lily.
Oh, you could. And I mean, even this could be the way you add your clasp too.
Right.
That's cool.
Right.
And if these were 11 Delica, you would just go to 3 15s here. And then you could maybe even just pop out with like 6 15s over a jump ring.
Right. and attach any clasp. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love this. We need to have like a beading idea retreat or something, because I love getting together with, you know, yeah,
Yeah, that would be
just
fun.
riffing off of ideas. So fun.
Oh, yeah, and, I'm seeing, Khalid's comment that, they make slender bugles. That would be cool because
Yeah,
that could
that
also
would be
finish
cool.
stitch.
I don't know if I don't know which are the ones that we carry. We carry the bugle, the BGL1 and the BGL2. So we can kind of play around with that, but that would be that would be really fun. So can we look at, would you mind flashing the instructions there, Danielle, if you have them
Yeah,
for
for
the
the
bracelet?
yeah, so let me go grab the pages. I think that's 3, 2, and I have page 1 right here.
So you can find this really fantastic handout. It's all there um, on uh, on Danielle's project, and she's got the supplies, what she's used there. But you can certainly, um, figure out whatever beads you wanted to use, and that's it. So it's really thorough. So thank you so much for such really clear instructions on that. And speaking of clear instructions, we've got those earrings. Shall we take a look at those?
Yeah, definitely. And I was gonna add just a quick shout out to Drea because she did the editing and made this like she leveled it up.
Well, Drea, always puts her editing cap on for our instructions, and we are so uh, lucky that we have her eagle eye for sure.
It's always so fun to see how nice it looks after it's been edited and it's been like formatted with the extra special little, jazzes here and there. I
Yeah,
love that. It makes me happy.
yeah, same. I love a good handout, that's for sure.
And so these are the bonus earrings. And so they're just, a little fun extra that I threw together super fast actually. They're just brick stitch. And so I think the place where I first learned how to do a 3-drop brick stitch was the Beadshop project from way back in 2018.
Oh, the heart on my sleeve, Emily's project that she did. That was such a fun one. And, Christmas is going to come and go, and Hanukkah and New Year's, and then we'll be creating things for Valentine's Day and beyond. And that heart on my sleeve project, um, it's such a, quintessential Emily project. I just love it.
I loved it too. It was a really fun one. I made a bunch,
Oh, love that.
and this is actually I tried to make this a link. So the PDF, if you have it open on like a device, if you click on it, it'll take you to the project
Totally.
page on
Oh,
Beadshop.
perfect.
Yeah. And all the beads in here are the same ones that we were using on the bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
And like I separated out I worked together interchangeably, like just like a mix with the two darker topaz colors.
Mm-hmm.
And like you were saying, that adds the beautiful texture. And I thought, how cool. That looks so neat. And they just blend.
Yeah, and they're really, that shape is fantastic. I love it and brick stitch. I'm telling you, brick stitch is one of my new loves. Especially since I did that little pine cone with the magatamas.
Oh,
That was really fun. Brick stitch has so many great applications.
it's really versatile.
Yeah.
This one, I recently discovered a way to start the ladder row of brick stitch using peyote instead of laddering.
Really?
Saves me a little time and makes this work up super quick.
And
Like
so
super.
did you use, which row is the peyote? Do you mind? I mean, we have some
Yeah,
time. Do you mind showing
yeah.
how we started?
What I did is, and it actually doesn't matter which one you choose, but I worked with the center and I picked either the one above or below it. And they're the same, so it really doesn't matter. But so
Mm-hmm.
you isolate these and work those in single column 3-drop peyote.
Oh,
And then you're done with your first 2 rows like in a jiffy. It's quick. And then you just
Right.
weave around your tail and working thread to make that strong on the edge, and then just brick stitch from there. And then you can see you just got only 2 rows of brick stitch to do besides
Right.
little tops. Makes it really fast. I mean, you can make these in 30 minutes.
Wow. Love.
Super,
And I
super.
like the high contrast of color in there. That white, that winter white having just kind of a matte, pardon me, color contrast. Pardon me. Sorry about that. I just love it as a design element.
I love it too. That was such a fun way to make the mix have a true standout base color.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really, really loved that. And these 15s that I have here could work for if you didn't have a wire guardian. You could just use
Right.
those.
No, for sure.
So super, super easy to start this. I'm just so kind of like you can use I use 2 rulers together, but you can
Mm-hmm.
always fold it or stick 2 post-it notes. But I'm just going to isolate these for now. And we're
Mm-hmm.
just start it with those 2. So I'm going to string 6A, 3B, and the B again is just a mix of the blues, and then come up through those A's and pull apart and tighten. And then we'll just
Gotcha. Right.
3 drop, 3 drop right to the end.
All right.
6 of these.
Sometimes I think multiple drop, like the 3 drop, I think it can be daunting for people. But if you just get past like what you're doing here, it's going to look a little bit like my friend Mary says, it looks like the dog's breakfast. But if you just like, power through this portion, the payoff will be good.
Yeah, exactly. It pays off in to the tune of 10 minutes.
Yeah, it really does.
It's like 3 rows, right?
And then we'll measure. Margaret has a question. How long do the earrings end up being? Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't, but I can just do a quick little measure. Do you usually measure from the top of the ear wire, or do you measure from?
Well, I measure, the part that would kind of sit in your ear, I guess. So yeah, about where you have that 4, because that really adds some length. So that's, I guess, what I do as well.
Yeah, I think that's my kind of go-to, but it makes a difference than what ear wire you're using.
Right, it does, exactly. So the beaded section itself looks like it's about 2.5 inches, maybe.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, 2. Yeah, exactly. And it's the little, if you count the little dangles, but it's 2.
Yeah, and then the dangles, yeah. So you can decide. And then just kind of, I know that people always have their own favorite ear wires and stuff that they like to use. So you can kind of go from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very
Other
nice.
beads are going to be beautiful for this, like pretty much any beads you want.
Yeah.
And so to get it going, we just went back through those first 3. And I'm just kind of starting it, well, in fact, exactly starting it the same sort of way we started the last one, where we've got that going.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to pinch it to keep it tight. Pick up the next 3, which is that top row of 3B. And I'm going to try to get through all 3 of these B without wiggling them. And you'll get that. The next one in is our winter white. So let's pick up those. Go through 3. And again, if it gets loose on you, just give it a tighten after you get the needle through those 3 beads. That's kind of what I do for just this row. And then after that, everything stays
after that, it's brick stitch. So Kelly was asking here, is this earring fully peyote or brick stitch as well? So this is your peyote stitch base, and you're going to go brick stitch up north and down south, right? So this is the center is peyote, and then brick will follow.
Yes, exactly. And then the awesome part is we're at the midpoint, so you can leave a super long tail to work the top, and your thread will end up your other side can work the bottom half.
Right, so you don't have to add any thread anywhere.
Yep. Yeah, you can do all one swoop and be done really quick.
Very nice. And yes, Karen is asking about the wire guard. When we get to it, because she's never seen it used before. Usually we use that with like a soft flex product or a nylon coated wire cable to attach clasps and stuff. But I love using it in earrings and stuff like this as well. So yeah, Danielle will talk about it a bit more when we get to that.
I'm trying to remember, but I could have swore I learned that from Beadshop to use the wire.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I've been using them that way for a while. I just think they're so handy. It's a great little finding to have.
Yeah, they're definitely good. There's another way if you're, because I think the wire guardians are probably the most secure way, but if you're not currently in possession of a wire guardian and you're in a hurry, you can make one with wire, but you want to stitch that in.
Mm-hmm.
I could see if I go.
Mm-hmm.
This is a large version that's made for an 8/0 bead, but like something like that.
Oh, look at you.
I used bale forming plier to do it. So you can make the big section. That way you can make them all the same size. And then you stitch it into the edge of your work like that.
Just get out of town. Love.
I just have that one sitting here. Something else I'm working on.
That is so clever.
And easy. My token to everything is easy.
I love it. That got me thinking. I'm like, well, we could use flat wire. I could drill a hole in it. I could solder some rings on the end. I need to just get back in my studio. Is what I have not had a torch in my hand for a bit of time. So I'm really jonesing to fire that up.
You have the mind of the metalsmith when you're seeing things like that. You're like,
oh, we're just gonna fabricate that real quick.
Yep. So we're done with the 2 rows just like that. Just
excellent.
And so what you'll want to do, because these are the thread bridges are going to be loose, right? Because the way we did it. So I always just make one little trip through. And in the case of this one, we'll have this one be the one we work the bottom half with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just weave it around just to get over there.
Oh, right. To kind of firm it up a bit.
Yeah. So that one's ready to go to work the bottom half for bracelet. And then this top one, I would just pop a needle on it really quick. Get that through.
I know Margaret Sloan is saying she's going to go lie down now. Someone send her some cheese so she can get through this. I'm telling you.
Good. Cheese is good.
So clever. I love it too. And see how Danielle is just getting her needles in position. And so now you'll start your brick.
Yeah. So now we're done with that.
Mm-hmm.
So now I can work these all the way up. So I can just start with my next. And again, I'm just randomly selecting the topaz. So there's the first, 3 stack, treating it as 1 bead. And then there's my next 3.
Right. Because remember with brick stitch, we do our first stitches with 2 quote unquote beads and then single beads after that. Right.
Yeah. That's the only way I know how to do it where your thread won't show.
Right.
Sometimes with single beads, I let the thread show,
mm-hmm.
but I don't think it would work as well. So there's that. And then you can carry on like this, but what I did with my earring was I went back through.
Mm-hmm. I tend to do that too.
And you only have to do that on the first one, and every single one thereafter is easy. You just go 1 and 1. So you can see how quick these are. These do not take very much time at all.
Yeah.
And I'm like in season where I need to make like 5 pairs.
Yeah, no, exactly. And Janice, I think Danielle is saying that with the blues and the browns, you're mixing the colors. Is that right?
Yeah, there's 2 different shades of blue in here. There's a light and a dark. Mm-hmm. So here's the light and here's the dark next to each other. Super close.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the browns, there are 2 topazes. One's transparent and one is silver lined. I'm using those interchangeably. And the only one I isolated out was the cinnamon that little bulky one.
Right.
And it's a color-lined bead, and it's very different than the other two in the brown. So it's easier to spot.
Oh, yeah. You can spot it. Yeah, definitely.
And I used it sparingly since it's the only one that doesn't have a double of itself. So it's just worked there in the middle, just very, low quantity.
Right.
Organic. Oops, there we go. And of course, I would probably work this with frost crystal. In Fairlane, it's called crystal, right?
Yes, it's called crystal. Yeah.
I do think the crystal looks a little bit more poppy, but I guess, it kind of matters not too much.
Yeah, and especially to the unseasoned viewer, I don't think anyone would, maybe a beater would go, oh, look, they used dark thread, but, don't be judgy.
Well, especially if you made them both the same thread, then it's not going to stand out from the other one.
No, and it really, especially for this demo, it's so much easier to see, honestly.
Yeah, the crystal is disappearing on this color.
Yeah. Which I like, definitely, but it's also nice to really be able to see that darker thread. But you could just get a darker matte, too, that you're working on.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Help, right?
I have a blue one. I keep forgetting to bring my blue one up when I'm working with the lighter colors.
Look at that. That's we're almost to the top of that. Awesome.
I know. It's super quick, and I love brick stitch because every row you get faster and faster because it's getting short.
Right. It kind of tapers in.
Yeah. And then here at the bottom, in the pattern I wrote the counts, but I just did 4 and 13 beads so that they would sit next to each other. But you might want to change the count just to be the same height as your bead so that the other bead's just right below it.
Right.
It looked a little bit
cool. For the dangle.
Yeah. And this can always be made in other colors. Like you could, I've often wondered of doing a book of blank, like just a book of blank shapes.
Yeah, like a coloring book. That would be fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun to do.
Oh, that would be fun. That's awesome to just make the template clear and you can color your beads right in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fun. Lorena's asking me what kind of thread do I like to use for bead weaving. And Lorena, honestly, I have been using a lot of Fireline lately. I love using KO. I love the colors of KO. I use it a lot. But the things that I've been doing lately, I feel like I need a little more body to them, right? And I think Fireline gives me a little more structure, I guess.
Yeah. I'm really a big fan of Fireline.
Yeah.
I think it's my favorite thread.
Yeah.
I do love the KO as well.
Yeah, I like the KO colors. I really like, but Fireline, it just disappears in, especially this crystal color. I use it a lot. I'm using it. I'm actually stitching a little bit onto on the project that I'm doing for TGBE as we're chatting. It's great.
Oh yeah. I can't wait to see your project.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'll give you a little sneak peek at the end here. So the wire guard, will you kind of show where the wire guard sits on the earring one more time, Danielle?
Yeah, the pattern will take you to an end of 3 beads. So at the top, you'll have 3. And then all I did was I took some round nose pliers. And in the case of my wire guardian, it was pinched closed. So I put the, find a pair here. I put the round nose pliers, this is before I stitched it, inside the opening here. And if you just kind of let it open,
right,
it'll open for you until I got it to be the width that I wanted. And then your thread will be exiting out of one of these edges. And you just go through the side and then over the well. And I usually hold it like that while I'm pulling the thread there to keep the thread. and then go back down through this bead right here. And then you can use this set of 2 beads here to turn and bring you right through this bead over the horn again, and do that one more time, and then just weave it in.
Yeah, and that's it. It's a nice little, and as you say, you could use beads instead of that, right? You could just string beads so they make that little horseshoe. But the wire guard, yeah, the 15s would look great. The wire guard is just a really great metal connection. I've got a couple of questions for you here and a couple of comments. This is a great tip, and I just want to let you know, folks, if you're watching this on the YouTube, you can zoom in even more when we're working. You can zoom in even more with the on the, what do I want to say, on the picture, so you can get nice and tight. I love that tip. I'm going to have to try it when I watch YouTube tutorials. And Lorena, I use a lot of 0.6 is what I use, though I also like the 4, especially if I'm doing a lot of weaving back in and out and stuff, and just the little bit of a thinner works nicely. And Linda has a question about, Danielle, how do you decide 10-aughts versus 11-aughts in the Delicas?
Sometimes it's based on how I want to finish it or what type of design I'm trying to do. So in this case, I had a clear vision of using this specific finding. And so the beads that worked with it. I also just really liked the Goldilocks size of this bead. I just like, it's just a personal preference.
Right.
I do wish there was more colors in 10-0 Delica. There's just many, you know, the 11-0 has a far more range like of colors. And so sometimes I would go for 11-0 because they have, you know, more option for color.
Right. The right color that you're looking. And you could definitely use, Robin, that wire guard to attach a clasp. For sure you could. You know, if you were stitching and then just stitch that wire guard in, that's exactly what it's used for things like soft flex and stuff. That's how we attach the clasp. We just slide that right in. On the top of this, Marianne's asking about a cymbal for this. There must be, I can't think of one right off the top of my head, but maybe one of those super duo stitch in ones, or is it the Ramada, the short one might work?
There's a few, none of them are designed for this purpose, but I've been playing with making things that aren't for that work. And there's a couple of options there.
Yeah.
I'll browse your website later and see.
Yeah.
Maybe we can change the top of this and show a few other options.
Yeah, it's really great. And we're looking at adding some new cymbal shapes after the first of the year. They have some great findings for 8-aughts and 11-aughts as well. I am a cymbals convert. We've looked at them for so long. I can't believe it took us so long to carry them, but I really, really like them.
I like them too. They're so versatile and fun.
Yeah, and they're really well made for sure. Okay, well, Danielle, what else do we have to look at? Are we good?
Yeah, if there's any more questions, I'm happy to show any other things you want to see or just ideas.
I think we're set. Let me add, because I know some of you are kind of newer watchers. Bear with me here just a second, folks. I am going to share my screen. Let me get these. And I love how you named these earrings Window to the Soul. I love it.
Oh, yeah. It was fun.
Let me add, Ruth is saying that she loves the earring. It's great for a purse charm, for sure. You could add some dangles and stuff down at the bottom, and instead of an ear wire, you can attach a lobster claw to the top. Let me share my screen here if I can do it. There we go. So you can see here we're on the home page of the website, and you can scroll down. You can see we've got our holiday coupon codes that are right there for you. And then we're scrolling down. We've got Emily's great bead embroidery initials over here to the right. And here to the left, we've got Danielle's new cuff and special mix. So let's go ahead and click on that tab. And you can see it brings you right to Danielle's project. And like we were saying earlier, we've got the Mosaic mix. It looks like we're sold out of the 6-pound crystal, but you could also use the smoke. You could use 4-pound. So you can use some different, and I'm sure we're getting that in pretty quickly if I know Janice. And then here, what we've got on the handout, if you click, you see here, let me share this tab. There is the window pane cuff. And let's go back to, whoops, I stopped sharing it. Sorry, let me reshare.
It's funny. You said you were sold out of the 6-pound. I ran out of 6-pound crystal.
And
so this one right here is made with 4-pound.
Oh,
I was out. I couldn't find. I figured no one will notice, but
no one will notice. Yeah. Oh, and we do have the 50-yard too. Thank you, JP. I actually do like, that's what I get. I get the 50-yard spools for sure. So thank you for that. Let me add our screen one more time so we can get, let me show you. Let me see. There we are. I'm sharing that one. And there are the earrings right there. And you can download. So you can download both of these. So thank you, Danielle, for both of those really great handouts and this fantastic project. It's really been fun. Let me show you. I'll give you a little sneak peek since I've been telling you all about it. It's kind of hard to see, but we're adding at your suggestion, really, Danielle, Delica makes, in the 11s, makes some really terrific mixes. So Janice and I got our heads together and we're launching some of the new Delica mixes. And I'm bringing in some of these great channel bangles in some different widths. So we're going to play around. This is that odd count that I've been doing. So we're going to play with that. I have some new glue that we're checking out for that. So all that's going to launch for the Great Bead Extravaganza. There's some really cool wild colors here. This one's called Mum's the Word. It looks like chrysanthemums. So I'm playing around with that. But this is just one of the mixes that I'm pebbling. So you could use your fantastic mix just like this, Danielle, and pebble away. But I'm pretty excited. So we'll see how far I get with this, but it is super relaxing because it's just peyote stitch. So so we'll see. So stay tuned after the new year, but I want to make a whole bunch of these cuffs so I can just layer them and wear them. And it would look great layered with your Mosaic cuff here as well.
Oh,
so we'll see how these all go. You and Janice are cooking up some things for after the new year, I believe.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have something planned for January, and we've even got an idea for February too. So
super excited. Well, great. Well, and I agree with Zakiah, who says, thanks, Danielle, superbly done projects. I agree completely. It's such a fabulous show. And I love it when you're on because all I need to do is sit back and let you work your magic.
Thanks.
So that's awesome. We really, really appreciate you. So thank you so much. I don't know if I'll see you before the rest of the winter holidays, but we really appreciate you. You're one of the things that we're thankful for sure. So thank you. And, I also wanted to mention, folks, Danielle, she's done a bunch of really great projects for us at Beadshop, including there's some great things over in our lookbook collections. If you haven't checked out the lookbooks, oh, and I'm also drinking out of my little, I'm doing that Instagram influencer nail tap thing now that Drea has me on it, and I've got to break myself of that habit. But I have my little, I posted this on the page. Miranda has a pink one. I have a green one. So let me do this real quick.
That's awesome.
But yeah, Joanne fabric. Super cute. I had to do it my late night fabric run. But I digress. If you go under our lookbook projects over on Beadshop, you'll see a bunch of the design team when we had such a great design team put together. But those lookbooks will last into perpetuity. So you'll see a lot of fun stuff there, including some of Danielle's other projects that she did for us. So we really, really appreciate you always being so kind to us here at Beadshop.
Thank you. I appreciate you as well. I had so much fun in the design team days.
Yeah, those were fun times. So, yeah. Oh, and Janice, thank you for linking all of the lookbooks there. They're really great. I hope for 2025, I'm going to get some of those lookbooks out and recreate some of those projects because they're just a wealth of information for sure. So, we really appreciate it. And we appreciate you. Thank you so much. And Janice, as always, we thank you for all of your behind the scenes work because no woman is an island here at Beadshop. That's for sure. Well, Danielle, have a fabulous holiday season, and we'll see you again in January.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, we can't wait either. So, folks, pick up Danielle's limited edition mix. When they're sold out in the size 10 Delicas, they're sold out. So jump on it and grab this really fun mix. There'll be some fun projects. And Miranda and I are flying through orders, my friends. The orders are dwindling in scope. So we are going to be caught up before you know it. So order with confidence, my friends. Things are going out fast and furious. So thank you so much. And I wanted to say, if you do need something expedited, please communicate that with Drea. I mean, you can leave it in your order notes, but sometimes we're working so quickly over here that we miss those order notes. So make sure to email any questions or issues or anything you have with orders, email them into Drea. I'm going to flash this, Danielle. I'm going to cover you just for a second so you know where to find us and where to contact us. Hit that email over at info@beadshop.com. And you can reach out to us on social everywhere at beadshop.com. If you've made one of Danielle's tutorials from Beadshop, make sure and tag us so we can share it on all of our socials. We'd love to see you in our Facebook group. Lots of great ideas and fun stuff on our Instagram page. And of course, Pinterest, my friends. Pinterest is your friend. So we've got some great Pinterest boards over there as well. So thank you again, Danielle. We'll see you in January. I can't wait.
I can't wait. I'll see you then.
All right. Thanks so much, everyone. We really appreciate all of you. And I will see you on Friday we're gonna talk a little bit about finishing off our snowflakes then. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.